What's happening, sports fans? Christian Pedersen, Tommy Morris, Aaron Birdgame. Aaron Birdgame. Tommy Morris, Christian Peterson, Aaron Birdgame. Welcome back to. Yeah, we back. Look, this season we got our standard amount of nonsense, unethicalness, lack of education. We got all sorts of.
Am I the lack of education?
Yeah. Tommy just asked when Corona Centennial was going to win Western League, and we just stared at him. It's all good. No, I'm kidding. Look,
Jay Sarah winning the Pacific.
Look, it's we're transitioning out of football season for us, so we're a little bit behind. He is full-time hoop, so he's far ahead. So we'll meet.
Literally is full-time.
We'll meet somewhere in the middle for the basketball analysis. But let's start with this.
A couple weeks, they'll be all right.
Dude, if you just ask Country Day basketball, we need to be up to speed on some things though. So Aaron, can we start there with just. Top 10 is really hard for basketball, small sample size, but right now, your top 10 rankings and just a little bit of thought behind them, and I'll let Tommy be the voice of Prep Insider giving just the general reaction to your rankings.
Well, of course, I think we both had Mission Bay at top. You really can't not have them at number one.
Shout out Boogie Ellis for 51.
And this is something that we all saw coming 2 years ago, too.
We saw it 2 years ago, but they accelerated that process, winning the Open Division with a team full of juniors. Almost all of them are back. They've got a really strong freshman class who is going to carry that mantle in a couple years. That was kind of an easy one for us. Number two, we both agreed with Torrey Pines. The Falcons, you really did think that maybe they might take a step back, losing Finn Sullivan, who meant so much to the program. But then they got two really high-level transfers. You bring in Victor Navi from Cedarburg, Wisconsin, and you bring in Travis Snyder from right in the district at San Diego Academy. Two guys, 6'6", 6'7", who can really provide some mismatches in the post and on the perimeter. So you add those with the holdovers that they have, the Pope twins, and Brandon Angel has kind of come into his own in his junior year. I mean, it's easy to see why they'd be number two. Three, I've got St. Agustin. I love the Saints. I was really surprised because I thought their guard play might be a bit of an issue, but during the first tournament over at Montgomery, the SoCal tip-off, I really like the improvement of Misa Rosado, their point guard. He looks really ready to take that next step forward, and if they have a solid point guard play with Chibuzo Agbo, with Coach Hobbs' son, of course, Luke Haupt, and with the pieces they have around them, that's a great team. They could challenge Mission Bay in the Western League.
I mean, can't disagree with literally any of that because we have the exact same thing. So I'll second that. I'm really excited to see how Mission Bay does this year because, again, like I said earlier, when they were all sophomores, we were saying, when these kids are seniors, and this is now the year when these kids are seniors, it should be an unbelievable year for us.
Really should. So four, I think we both, again, we agree with our top four. Foothills Christian, Derek Carter Hollinger on his way to Montana. Yasin Garam, a junior, really, one of the premier point guards in the section. Jaron Nafarette, one of the most underrated players in the section.
Quick question.
Yes.
Is this the 43rd year that Jaron Nafarette has been playing at Foothills?
Harry Ellis at Kansas. I mean, he has a double doctorate already. Jaron, we're kidding. We love you. But, yeah, you've been a four-year.
That's a credit to Jaron as being the unspoken hero for 4 years at that.
Yeah, I mean, he's been there. He's been through all the wars. I mean, we saw him as a pubescent freshman hitting those 2 free throws against Sacred Heart in that big nationally televised game. And here he is as a senior along with Derek Carter Hollinger. The big X factor this year is going to be Jolly O'Keefe on that team. 6'5", wing type, has really put in a lot of work. Got to give a quick shout out to Stacy Dooley, who's put in a lot of work with some of the kids south of the 8 and a few north of the 8 as well. And Jolly is one of those guys, I think, who's really going to benefit from his from working out with Stacy. So that's my four. This is where we start to diverge a little bit. I have La Jolla Country Day at 5. I know that my friend Bo Brewer probably had a nice little discussion with you yesterday about that.
Bo kept it PG. Bo's cool.
PG, yeah. I'm a big believer in especially in high school basketball, if you've got an elite talent, you should be very good. They have one of the best talents in the section in Ryan Langborg. And when you surround him with a solid point guard like Raymond Liu and a 6'10" door stopper like Jason Taylor, good things will happen. They're going to rely on some young kids, the Hapgood twins, John and James, you can only tell them apart once you know whose hairstyle is whose. Once you know that, you're good. They're solid. I have 6. I have Vista. Micaiah Morris has come pretty much out of nowhere, and it's crazy because I've known the kid since he was 11 years old. I didn't see this coming. He's 6'2", has become a prolific scorer to go along with his shooting last year. Last year he was a really reliable cog to knock down corner threes off of the penetration from his brother Isaiah Morris or Torrey Samuels. But now he's a bona fide true point guard and a scoring threat at the same time. You add that with perhaps the best defender in the section in Jordan Hillstock and a solid supporting cast and a great coach in Anthony Bolton, good things are going to happen there. 7, I've got Cathedral Catholic, which is one of the bigger wild cards in the section. They're still waiting to hear if Beion Riley will be eligible to transfer from Mater Dei Catholic. If they get him, 7 might be too low. They've got Chibuzo Agbo, who's a dominant force, Thomas Notriani, Alex Wade in the backcourt, Dylan Wilhite, a 6'8" sophomore who's rounding into shape and becoming a force himself. They got some really good pieces to work with. Number 8, the team that we both had a chance to see last night. Obviously, you didn't know I was there. I didn't know how you could miss me.
Hiding in the wings.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that later. Francis Parker at number 8. They bring back...
I'll go with you blend in with the school colors.
There we go. For sure. They bring back almost everybody. They lost Miles Williams to transfer.
But they bring back the core.
Back the core. You talk about Kimo Ferrari, Matt Bender, Max Gwynn, Daryl Sledge, who had a really big game to open the season, Jacob Jovian, a 4-year varsity starter. This is a really good group. Their depth, just like a few of these teams, their depth is going to be a little bit of a concern. I like Kimo's little brother, Vinny Ferrari, who's a freshman. And then Camden McCormick is going to play a bigger role once he gets back into football shape. 9, I've got San Marcos. San Marcos has arguably the top freshman in our section, sophomore in our section, and Chris Howell. He's 6'6" now, really looking like, the premier point guard on the West Coast, along with, I think he's up there with Devin Askew and Issa Silva. But, changes the game with his ability to pass and distribute, score when he needs to, and to defend multiple positions. Elijah Randall, coming off a year which was an inconsistent year for him, looks really good in the fall. I like that duo as being one of the better duos in San Diego. And at 10, one of my South Bay favorites, Montgomery. Montgomery lost Timmy Crawford, who was kind of the heart and soul of that team. But then they got really good news when Raheem Williams was granted a 5th year by CIF. CIF doesn't do that too often. But Raheem's back, and you bring back 4 of the 5 starters from a team that won 23 games a year ago. I think they're going to be fun to watch. They get up and down the court. They shoot a ton of threes. And Kyle Pernaut is one of the more exciting scorers in the section. So that's my top 10.
The only team that we differ on is we included Santa Fe Christian in our top 10.
And they're 11, yeah.
And I will say this. I want to talk about another South Bay team real quickly. Sweetwater. CJ McMillan might be one of the best sophomores. You want to talk about sophomores in the class. Averaged 16 points per game and 11 rebounds a game. Jimmy Matos, 16 points per game last season. And then CJ Jackson transfers in for Matt Miguel. He's 6'7". So they're going to be good.
Tommy, who are some of the other teams that you got highlighted there that you want to just sort of address early in the season?
Yeah, another team with some height. We got Carlsbad. They got Brogan at 6'5". He was an all-league player last year.
You can nail that last name. I know you can nail it.
Pietro Tini, man.
It's playing it safe. Playing it safe. Carter Plushevra knows him, 6'5" senior, 12.7 points per game, and then also Caleb Nelson, also 6'5". So when you have 3 guys in your lineup that are 6'5", that's tough.
X factor on that team, though, is going to be Jalen Nelson, the transfer from Sage Creek. He has to sit 30 days. When he gets back, that's the point guard that they haven't had the last few years.
I like how the stats in basketball become less about what you do and just about who you are. Oh, he's 6'5". He's 6'5". He's 6'5". That team will probably win.
That size matters.
Yeah, no, seriously, though.
Well, arguable. Next week was San Ysidro, another sophomore, Felix Kilborn, averaged 12.1 points per game as a sophomore last season. Sorry, he's a junior now. As a sophomore last season. Kalen Raines, 16 points per game as a sophomore last season. And freshman DJ Dudley, who I think he's number 1 on your board for freshman. He's a great player. I saw some highlights of him playing in the fall. Great player. Also, Oceanside's got the Beecham brothers. Got to watch out for them. And Helix, Maurice Holmes, and Kai Jesse, 2 very good players.
Just want to shout out Kyron Beecham. Kyron Beecham gets it on just all fronts. If you ever want to listen to good media, good broadcasting, good sports radio, Kyron Beecham gets it. So, look, this season, everything started a little early. The football got moved up. The basketball got moved up. So, just what's the vibe going to be when instead of the Hilltop tournament and the other, the Holiday Classic, the West Hills tournament, those, instead of those being the start of the season, now that we're going to see those hit with teams already having 5 games under their belt, 6 games under their belt, what's maybe something different vibe-wise or anticipation? Just talk to me a little bit about what's going to be happening early in this season, just with how the schedule's worked out a little bit differently than ever before.
Well, San Diego really benefited from having this early season because you had a lot of SoCal teams, LA teams, who were really excited about coming down and playing here in their early games. I mean, we had the best team in the state just come down here and lay waste to everyone down in Montgomery. So Sierra Canyon was down here. On the 14th of December, we've got Mission Bay playing Rancho Christian, which is going to be a huge matchup. The next day, Carlsbad's hosting a 1-game showcase where you're going to have La Jolla Country Day versus Damien, Mission Bay versus Chino Hills, and Onyeka and Kongu, who's headed to USC. And the nightcap is going to be Torrey Pines versus Bishop Montgomery. I mean, these are the appetizers heading into the post-holiday tournaments, which you obviously mentioned, were the ones that we looked most forward to. Traditionally, we've always looked forward to the Under Armour Holiday Classic, or now the Holiday Classic. But we've got so many good games and so many good teams coming from outside of our area, filling up some of these one-off showcases, smaller tournaments, that by the time we get to December, the end of December, I mean, belly's going to be here. We're going to be full, man. It's going to be great.
I'll say this, too. A lot of times with these early season tournaments, these teams are still trying to figure themselves out. Now they'll kind of have a better sense of who they are, so we get more of a true matchup, if that makes any sense.
I wish I could say that for my son's team.
That's true. Full disclaimer, this entire season is going to be one of the weirdest ones we've had yet because he's got a rooting interest in not just a good thing, but defending a championship type thing. So just know that while we enjoy basketball season, it's now going to be an emotional roller coaster for Aaron. Every time
I come in some days, with a frown on my face. There might be a couple of L's that I might be brooding over a little bit.
Just know that every time you see this man, he is locked in a glass case of emotion.
Content idea. Just film him, live stream, Facebook Live, Instagram Live, whatever, him just watching a San Diego High game. Just see the range of emotion.
How about this, Aaron? Will you let us hook you up to an EKG during one of Aaron's games? So we can follow along with the heart monitor. I was
going to say, if you're going to videotape me, all you got to do is go to Instagram and see that one funny video of that what parents do at basketball games, and the guys ranting about the referees. That'll be me, obviously, but yeah, if you want to hook me up at EKJ, that'd be fine. Also, make sure you have the ambulance right on cue, because something might happen. I'm just saying, just putting it out there. But obviously, I've got a dog in the fight this year. My son's a sophomore at San Diego High. We're D4 champions. They've moved up to Division III, so that'll be a storyline that I'll be following both as a basketball aficionado and as a parent this year.
Can I ask you a question, just a broad question as far as division? So football, the divisions are pretty obvious, I would say. You know which team's kind of secondary. In basketball, I feel like it's a little more of a mishmash where teams could be kind of going either way. Would you agree with that? Like the D3 teams can compete with D1s and that kind of stuff?
I think this year D3 is pretty top heavy. There are 4 or 5 teams that I think that if they moved up a division in Division II this year, they'd still be able to compete for at least for a high seed in the playoffs. I don't think it's to the point yet where there's like a D3 team that could go in and like knock off an open division team. I don't think that's the case. Sweetwater,
other than West Hills. I don't know what division Westview. Westview. I don't know what division Westview is, but at one point Westview will beat Mission Bay or somebody like that this season, and
they'll grind it out. They'll run that offense. I mean, I saw
in a 39-37 win,
or it'll be 70-40. I mean, it's just unpredictable. I saw Sweetwater earlier this year. They played against an open division team, St. Augustine. And I thought it would be a close matchup because of the size differential. Size in the middle was comparable, but it wasn't.
Speed kills.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to be said about that. Any closing notes, Tommy, before we get out of here?
Just getting in basketball season, man. It's exciting. We got to be indoors now. No more.
Absolutely. So we will be back every week with the podcast. We also have a radio show Mondays and Thursdays. Aaron will be available for that when he has the time. We got players coming in and out of that. We got all of the goodness for you that you've ever expected from us and much, much more this season.
I heard we're going to get irreverent on the radio show.
We might.
I'm with that.
I'm down.
All right.
Look, we're taking ourselves incredibly as seriously as we always have, but I think all of you guys are realizing that that's not very serious. So on that note, sports fans,
for the win!
see you next week.